if you are parents, it is perhaps the last week of the school holidays. I told my kids this morning there are 3 more days. They have their 2 cousins over today, Albie and Grace. There are 6 kids way out there running amok. And it is, well, what do we call it? Hectic, frantic, wild. As I said to a good mate, Callum Fido, this morning, it is full. Life is full. It's not about saying life is busy or life is hectic. Life is full, and it's a wonderful thing. Say hello, pop a comment in. Always love to see what you're up to. Let me see if I can get the little chat going up here. Let's close that off. It's always nice to see people as they're coming in. Coffee is well and truly done this morning. I don't even have a cup of tea. I've come in, got up this morning at 6 o'clock. No, I got up this morning at probably about 5:30. Did some push-ups, some sit-ups, some squats, went down to the cafe, been working on, as some of you will know right now, the book is done. The book is done. This is the only copy that exists in the world at the moment because it's the mock copy. I'm changing a couple of things. Not a massive fan of the feel of the cover and a couple of page numbers. The feel of this paper inside, I think, could be a little bit different. I'm a traditionalist with books, so you'll notice as part of being traditionalist, there is no picture of me on the front. A lot of books have the picture of the author, which is fine, which is great. But I am on the back because I am a traditionalist. It's the way I like to roll. Classic but contemporary was the theme of Sarah's and my wedding. And in many areas of life, I think it's the same. Now, hello, Fiona Davis. Great to see you. It still says Facebook user for some people. Hello, Facebook user. Whoever said good morning, Marcus, at 9:20, hello to you too. So on this wonderful Wednesday, which is not hump day, it's not that day because hump day kind of for me represents that you're not really enjoying the week. You might argue that mathematically it's just halfway through the working week and that's why it's hump day, but it doesn't have the best connotations for me, hump day. So I just like to call this wonderful Wednesday. And today I want to play a game of dot to dot. I just want to check that my proper microphone is on because I'd hate to think that you're getting no, I think you get one. So there you go. Let's play that. That might be a little bit easier for everyone. Today I want to play some dot to dot because I like to reflect on life, and when I think about I put a lot of stories in here from life. It's not an autobiography by any stretch. It's a research-based book, but there are some personal stories in there, and I want you to think about right now some people in your life and moments with potentially those people in your life that have had a profound impact. I'll share with you a couple of stories if time allows. One of them is John Robbins, who, if I find the book here, got books everywhere down here. Let me see. Here you go. This is the book that was the beginning of the turnaround for me. This is a book called Healthy at 100, written by John Robbins. John Robbins, was the heir to the throne of the Baskin-Robbins Ice Cream Corporation. And John Robbins' dad was Irv Robbins. His uncle was Bert Baskin. And there you go, Baskin-Robbins. And John Robbins decided after a life of ice cream and swimming in an ice cream-shaped swimming pool that the purpose of his life was not to create the 30-second flavor of ice cream at Baskin-Robbins. So John Robbins denounced himself. He ostracized himself. He left the family. He was the only son. Can you imagine? And he went out the back of, I think it was Canada, with his now wife, Dio, and they sprinkled some cabbage and kale seeds. They meditated in a hut. They taught yoga and meditation for gold coin donations, and they revolutionized their life. And John Robbins became an absolute authority and still is to this day, particularly in the vegan world. Wrote Diet for a New America, Food Revolution, Healthy at 100, some wonderful books, is a wonderful human being. And the reason why I tell you this story is because when I was a raging vegan, and I think my camera's just died on me, so I'm just going to change the it's come back. Right, we're back. This webcam's a little bit temperamental. When I was a raging vegan and at the height of veganism, let's say back in 2010, I was reading this book and I got to the second page of the introduction and came across a study, literally, I could even read it to you, which I used to do sometimes, done at I'll go back to the old webcam, which is not really that pretty, the old webcam, but it's a lot more reliable, shall we say. Hold on a minute. I'll give you this. Oh, we'll give it one more chance. No, it's not going to play. So we'll pop that one in. And there we go. You get that one now. It's a bit darker for some reason. Anyway, so page literally page 2. So introduction, and then page 2 of the introduction. And here I am on my vegan high horse back in 2010, been a vegan for 3 or 4 years, think veganism is the way of the new world, and if you're a vegan, you'll live forever, and so everybody else should. This was done at the Yale School of Public Health by Becca Levi, and in the study, a large number of middle-aged people were interviewed 6 times over the course of 20 years and asked whether they agreed with such statements as you get older, you are less useful. Remarkably, the perceptions held by people about aging proved to have more impact on how long they would live than did their blood pressure, their cholesterol level, whether they smoked or whether they exercised. Those people who had positive perceptions of aging lived an average 7.5 years, not minutes, months, or weeks, years longer than those with negative images of growing older. So first question is, what is your image of growing older? How do you feel about getting older? Negative images not only lead to compromised health and shortened lives, they also are distressing in the present. And obviously what this study went on to show, which was my big awakening, was that it did not measure it wasn't about their diet. It wasn't about their family status. It wasn't about how much money they had in the bank. It was purely their belief. And as a vegan, that was confronting. But when you play dot to dot and you actually go, okay, hold on a minute, because after that, I went on a slow, steady transformation of leaving veganism, so to speak. By 2012, I often kind of joke and laugh that Maya, our oldest, grew up on a steady breakfast of quinoa and kale with lots of olive oil and salt. But by the time our second came along, Darby, who is a ravenous meat eater, we had introduced fish, and I think we might have been slowly but surely incorporating some red meat. But that was over about 6 or 7 years of vegetarian and vegan. But when I joined the dots of my life, being a vegan and being a vegetarian was a fabulous experience. I would never have read the books that I did. I would never have had this epiphany, which was the foundation for the turning point of my life, which is 7 years later. Well, I read this in 2010. This is coming out in 2021. I would not have had this if it wasn't for being vegan and reading this. I want you to play dot to dot with your life. Now, I've just joined a dot of 11 years. There are many dots in the process. To give you another example, when my mum and dad split up, my mum was like a lot of people recently divorced. And that was, financially a lot worse off, mentally challenging times, emotionally challenging times in the family, challenging times pretty much in every area of life. So what do you do when you're recently divorced? Well, one thing is you do not get much sleep, I am sure. And secondly, you probably watch a bit more late night TV. And I don't know if it still goes, but my mother, darling, was watching TV, and I'm going to just make it up here and say 3 o'clock in the morning. It might have been more like 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. But the big tooth man, Tony Robbins, the great man, was on TV doing one of his Guthy Renker infomercials. And my mum, with, I reckon, her last $200, I might be slightly exaggerating, but my mum does tell stories of only having $7 in the bank or $50 in her wallet or one of those wild stories of financial challenge. My mum, for my 21st birthday, bought for me the Tony Robbins Get the Edge program. 7 CDs with a bonus 7 CD program called Personal Power, which was, I think, a summary program of the 30-day audio cassette program, which my mum had feverishly digested, again, shortly after the divorce to help put the pieces of life back together. But I can tell you right now, if my mum and dad had not divorced, there's a big dot, then my mum would not have been establishing, reevaluating, checking in on her own life, which meant she would not have been listening to the words of Tony Robbins. She really did. I joke about it, but it's true. She replaced 3AW and Neil Mitchell like that for the Big American. And I have memories of being in the car and listening to Neil Mitchell or Ross Stevenson one day, or Bruce and Phil at night, and the next minute, bang, there's Tony Robbins sharing his message with my mum and 3 young children. And if that dot didn't occur, then the dot of my 21st birthday would not have occurred. And then I can fast forward. That was in 21. Oh, no, 2002. I can fast forward you to 2005 on a beach in Fremantle when I met Sarah for the very first time, and probably 2 days later on the beach at Cottesloe, Sarah and I, who had only known each other for 2 days, were lying on the beach, and she said, "What are you listening to?" And it wasn't Red Hot Chili Peppers, it wasn't The Killers, it wasn't Michael Jackson, it was Tony Robbins. And we got listening to Tony Robbins together, literally as two people that hardly knew each other. You know, I had one ear in the iPod and she had the other ear in the iPod, and two strangers got to kind of connect on that deeper level. Fast forward a couple of weeks, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and one of the things that we did, one of the things we did 7 or 8 months after we were together, I'll just put that up so people that are coming on know what we're talking about. One of the dots that we added to the mix in September of that year, so we've been going out for 8 or 9 months, was to go to Tony Robbins' UPW, Unleash the Power Within, back in 2005. So there's another big dot. So if you just pause at that point in 2005 and you go back to when my parents split up, which I was 10, so 1991, put a dot there, then join the dot to 2001 or 2 for my 21st, get the edge, then join the dot to 2004-5, meet Sarah, then join the dot to later that year, do a Tony Robbins event together. You know, that for us solidified a lot of things. I decided I would leave the media. We decided we would travel overseas together. At that point in our lives, we were both still fiercely independent Leos, but at that point in our lives, we were telling each other we were going to travel overseas at the same time, but do it separately. We decided to commit together. I could keep on going on about all of the dots that then joined from that. You know, Sarah practiced as a chiropractor in Ireland in this little town called Donegal. Chiropractors earn better money than journalists. So I actually helped Sarah build that business rather than work in TV or radio in Ireland, because we had a choice to make. I was going to work at Radio Kerry, which is like 10 hours south of Donegal, or we were going to take the job at the practice in Donegal. We took the bus all the way down to Kerry and we had a chat, but then we decided it just wasn't going to be the game. Join those dots. We saw Damien Christoph on TV while sitting in our little thatched cottage in Donegal town back in 2006. When he was hosting the show Downsize Me. Joined the next dot to 2008. Sarah and I are home by this point. We've set up a practice in Wonthaggi. We're living in Inverloch. Damien has a cereal company. Damien comes down and does a talk in Wonthaggi. That was probably in 2009. I have my epiphany in 2010, reading John Robbins. I literally sent Damo a summary of this. Sent him a summary of this book, Healthy at 100. I hardly knew the guy. And he was like, whoa, you've got me. I'm 39, about to turn 40, not looking forward to it. Let's talk more. I kind of continue to do my research and develop, again, journalist by profession. So I'm doing all of that. And then that leads into the 100 Not Out podcast, which if we keep on joining the dots, and you might think, oh, this is funny or useless, but I'm telling you, do this for your life, and particularly anything that you feel guilty about, uneasy about. Guilt is always about the past. Anxiety is always about the future. So if you are, you're more likely to guilt. And in relationship, I observe normally you have one partner that is more anxious and one partner that is more guilt. One partner that is more driven by the future, one partner that is more driven by the past. And I'm going to tell you right now, if it wasn't for 100 Not Out, you would not be reading this book, because as I've said in the acknowledgements somewhere, and I'm going to read it because I read it to Damo the other day, to my brother from another mother, Damien Christoph, your fingerprints are all over this book. If you never agreed to co-host 100 Not Out, who knows what would have happened? The guests we've interviewed, the people whose lives our podcast and events have impacted, and the experiences we have enjoyed together have all stemmed from your willingness to come on board. Now, I tell you this because when you play the game of dot-to-dot woo-woo metaphysical lifestyle, you recognize that this game of dot-to-dot is written by two forces, the force of your life and the force of a greater being that is outside of your life. The script writer of your exceptional life is you and someone else. Now, you may call it God, you may call it Muhammad, you may call it the universe, you may call that extra power Buddha, you can call that extra power whatever you want. If you don't believe in the extra power, then I think it's a bit hard to put everything down to coincidence, but that is a great dinner party conversation, and I am all ears and would love to listen. But at the same time, you probably wouldn't want to buy the book, because the book is very much a game of dot to dot. This book is really joining the 8 dots of your life together. And if you know my stuff, those 8 dots are your life purpose, your movement, your social life, your nutrition, your family, your growth, your wealth, and your spirit, soul, and faith. If you only play dot to dot in 1 or 2 areas of life, then the dot to dot game is never complete and you don't know what you've drawn. But if you play the game properly and you commit to exceptional in each area of your life, then the game of dot to dot woo-woo lifestyle is a magnificent masterpiece that when you observe it with a bit of perspective, you can see how incredible your exceptional life is. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. If you love what you're listening to, watching, hearing here, highly recommend that you pre-order the book. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. Literally, we'll send this to the printer for the first print run early next week. Got the final meeting with the editor on Friday morning. That's in 2 days' time. So in the meantime, if you want free delivery with that book, it's $27.95. You can get the book at marcuspierce.com.au/pre-order. That's my name.com.au/pre-order. Look forward to your support. Hope you enjoy, guys. And I will be back in tomorrow for another Facebook Live, another edition of Your Exceptional Day, shall we say. Tomorrow is tremendous Thursday, after yesterday was terrific Tuesday, and then we'll come back in again for fabulous Friday before take a little sojourn on the weekend on sensational Saturday and Super Sunday. But until then, folks, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you again. Take care now. Bye.